we back. This is the Gentleman's Talk podcast. I got a nice, powerful gentleman in my presence today. Can you please introduce yourself and speak up for the audience?
My name is Joseph Smith, Dr. J, some people call me.
Okay, we appreciate you, Dr. J. I ain't gonna lie, when he said Dr. J, I thought about basketball, so shout out to that. All right, so give a little background on who you are.
Well, I am a 68-year-old black man who lives in Windsor, originally from Harlem by way of Brooklyn. I was raised in Brooklyn most of the time. And, my background is education. I was a teacher, principal, assistant supervisor, assistant director of education. I wear a lot of hats, both in the private and public sectors.
Shout out to that.
I love working with my youth. I try to level the playing field for black and brown kids.
We appreciate that.
So I wrote books about it. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm still about, trying to get my feet back in the ground. I want to do some consulting work now with schools and make sure that they're up to par with how they're treating our kids, doing the right thing by them.
Shout out to that, yeah. Dr. J. All right, what's your perception on narcissistic behavior?
Narcissistic behavior?
What's your opinion on that?
Unbeknownst to what a lot of people think, there's only a small percentage of humans that are narcissistic. Albeit, a lot of us have a narcissistic trait, including myself. That's not a bad thing. As long as you have empathy and you can own up to your shit, have accountability, those are two main components of narcissism. People who can't take accountability for themselves, always blame other people, the world, whatever, and people who don't have any empathy for people, even young kids. That's the main traits of a narcissist. But we have those two characteristics, then you're good to go. But I would say like a majority of people in the world, especially leaders, have some kind of narcissistic principle or trait with them. That's not
Shout out to Dr. J. So what's your opinion, Dr. J? I get all over different topics, so don't mind me. It's just I'm gonna throw them at you, and you're gonna rock. What's your opinion on the Washington D.C. Holocaust Museum that they do not talk about for the Native Americans Memorial in D.C.? How come, as you being in the media field, how come they never talked about the Holocaust Museum in Washington D.C. or about the Native Americans and memorials?
Well, the synopsis is that if you avoid giving people their history, then they don't know where they're going. So if you don't know where you came from, it's the Sankofa proverb, which is a West African proverb. If you don't know where you came from, you're not going to know where you're going. You got to know where your roots are from. And so, when the Romans tried to destroy Carthage, when the Moors attacked Italy, the first thing they did was burn down the city. All of the Moor influence, because they want to destroy your history. And that's a good way of you not knowing where you came from, because your history tells a tale. So, in doing so in the United States, by not allowing us to speak about the Holocaust Museum for indigenous people and African American people, is a way of keeping us ignorant about who we are.
In a box, something like that.
Yeah, keeping us very limited in the knowledge. But they'll be quick to tell you about the Jewish Holocaust. They throw it up in your face every day. Not that anything's wrong with that. It's just that it just shows you how lopsided they are with their history. So they want to make sure you remember their history.
But don't remember our history.
They want you to forget yours.
That's not fair.
And then I can teach in school. The state of Florida 2 years ago, they did away with critical race theory, which is something I ascribe to. It's a thinking block, a tool that you use to unearth the truth.
Yes.
But we've been taught a lot of bullshit, excuse my language, a lot of bullshit.
Talk how you want to talk. It's all audio.
We've been taught that Christopher Columbus landed on America, he never touched foot here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of misbeliefs, a lot of mistruths, a lot of miseducation. So I like to try to right the ship, so to speak, and let the kids know who they are and where they came from. The powerful, beautiful history that we have is rich.
Shout out Dr. J. He the oldest dude that came on the network, and he's fly, yo. I love this swag.
I play some ball too, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna get into that. If you have been incarcerated, give us an incarcerated story, and if you haven't, even better.
Well, I've been incarcerated a little bit, a couple times.
And if you could navigate for students in the minorities that's coming up in a hard time, how could you tell them if they fall into that predicament, how to navigate it, or if they don't fall into that predicament, how to navigate it?
Well, it's funny because quick story that I just started going to jail until I was in my almost young 30s, maybe late 20s. I've been able to navigate it and bystep it. But what happened was I used to go to prisons and speak to my youth and tell them there's a better life when you get out. I'll show you that life, how to get out of here. So I went to prisons all around New York, talking to people, inmates. I got incarcerated doing a couple of dumb things, not thinking, trying to think of quick money. Like oftentimes we get the glimmer and the shimmer, and that's not the best way to go. But sometimes you think that you can outsmart the system, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. A couple of times I did not. I ended up in jail. So I regret that. It was an embarrassment to me because I'm smarter than that. Most people of color are smarter than that. That's where they want to put us anyway. They want to have us on paper. It's like a pass system, like in Africa. We had to have a number to walk around.
Talk about it.
It's the same thing here with the penal system. They want to get you on paper. And I fell for it. I got greedy and I fell for it. So I try to tell my young kids, there's nothing glorious about going to jail. They tell you when to go to bed, they tell you when to get up.
So you
don't want that lifestyle. You don't want that lifestyle.
So you want to sleep.
And the food is incredibly poor. It's not the healthiest food. The conditions are horrific. And it's not something that you want to do. Believe me or not.
So now we're going to jump into another topic. I don't know what religion you is, but I'm just going to throw this question at you. If Jesus walked the earth, and if Christianity came after Jesus, why so many people in the world Christians?
That's a great question, and I honestly don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer for everything, but I can tell you this. I can espouse on the fact that, me personally, I was raised a Christian. I was raised a Roman Catholic, to be exact. I was an altar boy, to be more specific. And so I used to, work in the Latin church with the priest, close to the priest, holding up his veil, walking behind him and blowing out the candles and doing that kind of stuff. And it's something I really didn't want to do because it seemed like in my gut there was some type of contradiction with being around people who weren't like me. They didn't look like me. So how am I going to worship somebody that doesn't look like me? So there was some kind of conflict going on inside me. When I got older, I was able to understand more about religion, and then I really didn't decide to go into any religion. I'm a spiritual being, always, like what we all are.
Facts.
And as long as you worship God, in-house, out-of-house, it don't matter where. As long as you worship a God, that there's something greater than yourself, a higher power, I think that all will be well. But when people who don't recognize that there's something greater than themselves, I think that they tend to get themselves into trouble. But I know the humility is necessary in my life. I gotta have some humility, and that's not by saying that there's something greater than myself, and I need to adhere to that greater thing. But I'm not religious. I'm spiritual.
I feel you, man. I'm spiritual too. What does family mean to you?
Wow, I mean, family encompasses a lot. It's not just the who you're born with and who you're raised with. It's the people who you meet too. People. They say you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family, and I tend to not believe that. You and I are family now. You know what I'm saying? So I try to make my family grow, and I try and accomplish my life with good people, and that's my family. So family is like a slang to me for people who are near and dear to me. It's not necessarily the people who I breed or my seeds. I have 6 of them, but I have extended family, I guess you would say, and I think my extended family, albeit, is more important at times than my biological family. I would go on, because some of these people have saved my life, and they have no blood relationship to me, so.
Very respectful.
Yes, yeah, and I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people who I haven't met, who I call my family. Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, King, they're my family.
Yes.
They're my ancestors. Not blood-wise, but I stand on their shoulders. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them.
When you said Malcolm X, the first person I'm talking about is Muhammad Ali. Cassius Clay, man. He was a powerful speaker, man.